It's about time.
A lovely evening and thank you for watching the news on Times TV with me, Edita Soko. First, the headlines. State and Defense given 30 days to make final submissions in former Army Commander Henry Odilo's case. Convicted former Minister of Home Affairs Oladi Musa applies for bail pending appeal against his conviction. And Ministry of Education says it will not speak for now on the learners' demonstrations against the teacher strike as negotiations are ongoing. We have these and other stories. Do stay with us. And to our first news item, Judge Redson Kapindu has given the state and defense 30 days to make final submissions in a case involving former commander of the Malawi Defense Force, MDF, Henry Odilo, and 3 others. The 4 are being accused of fraudulently paying about 2 billion kwacha to an arms supplier for a service not rendered. Odilo, his then deputy Clement Kafua, former MDF accountant Nelson Gaua Banda, and one Ganizani
I believe the appeal will come soon.
The court is yet to fix a date for the ruling on the bail application.
Chief Resident Magistrate Patrick Chira has adjourned to Wednesday the case involving businessman Zamir Karim, head of Pioneer Investments, who is alleged to have forged documents to acquire a 150 million kwacha loan to buy food rations for Malawi Police Services. Director for Public Prosecution Steve Gayuni explains to our reporter Rebecca Junjeka on what transpired at the court.
Well, there are 2 accused persons that took plea on forgery charges, documents that are purported to have been forged for the Malawi Police Service, and the trial is ongoing. The first witness is on the stand. This one used to be the Director of Finance at the Malawi Police Service.
That's Director of Public Prosecution, Steve Gayuni. In other news, Deputy Minister of Lands Abida Mia has ordered that a task force be instituted to look into issues of land management being faced by Blunder City Council. Mia made the remarks on Tuesday when she paid a visit to council offices. Thomas Kachere has more in this report.
Land issues have been there for so long, forcing many people to relocate to informal settlements. Mia says her ministry will look into the issues raised and has therefore ordered that a task force be instituted to facilitate the process.
We had many topics to discuss with regards to land issues, land expansion of the city boundaries was a major issue. Of course, we discussed the encroachment of land and the land that has been left idle that needs to be allocated. So there's many issues we discussed and we will be working on that immediately this week. They will be coming to Lilongwe and we'll engage the technocrats to make sure that these things are looked at because they've been sitting on their desks for many months. So we need to proceed and make sure these are rectified.
However, representative of the Chief Executive Officer for the Council, Kostle Chanza, said they're entangled by a number of challenges due to inadequate land. He then emphasized the need for idle land owned by the Minister of Lands to be handed over to the Council and also extend the boundary of the city.
The major concern that the City Council has in terms of land is lack of land on the part of the Council. In Blantyre, as we said earlier on, there are quite a number of landlords that are owning land in the city. There's government, there's Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, then I've got the Malawi Housing Corporation, I've got the private sector, and finally the City Council. Now, City Council is vested with the powers to do development control in the city, to manage urban, including developments. But at the same time, the council doesn't have land to allocate to potential developers. People do come to develop in the city, but they are normally directed to government. So it doesn't work well because city councils are supposed to know the needs.
Are ongoing among the government negotiating team, Teachers Union of Malawi and Civil Servants Trade Union. Some learners in Mzuzu thronged the streets of the city to protest against the teachers' strike, which restarted on Tuesday. Feston Malegezo was there, and he now reports.
The learners sang as they ran towards Ministry of Education offices in Mzuzu. Some of these learners came as far as St. Augustine Primary School, 6 kilometers from Mzuzu city. It was evident as Agnes Mohone, a learner at Zolozori Primary School, explains the frequent interruptions of classes is affecting education delivery.
We have stayed for 7 months without learning, and this is affecting us. This is also a violation of our right to education.
Equally, Gaston Major from Masasa Primary School says it is high time the government solves the issue.
We are not learning because the government is not paying the teachers. They should pay them because we want to go back to class.
Teachers are holding nationwide strike from Tuesday following the government's alleged failure to resolve their grievances. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 turned down teachers' proposal to convert money meant for personal protective equipment into cash.
And in Lilongwe, our reporter Wezi Gausi visited some primary schools and gives an assessment of the situation.
At Mchesi Primary School, only Standard 8 learners were learning whilst the other classes were sent back home. According to one teacher we found at the school, they've maintained Standard 8 learners because they will be sitting national exams soon. At Ibiwi Primary School, Times crew found the whole school closed. But at Chipasula Secondary School, it was a business as usual. Learners were in class learning. The school's deputy head teacher, Matthias Mitumba, said they could not force teachers to join the strike.
We do not actually tell teachers not to come to teach, but it's to so it's everybody's mind that will tell them to come or not. But so far, what we have observed as we went through the classrooms,
In Blantyre, the demonstrations started at Catholic Institute with learners from other primary and secondary schools joining the strike. The learners took M1 Chikwawa Road, branched off at Stella Maris Secondary School to Zingwangwa, and then Kuja before going back to CI. In some instances, they blocked the roads with stones, but there was heavy presence of police to calm the situation. The police handled the kids professionally, engaging them on routes and peacefully asking them to go home. One of the students, Faith Mwale, said she was concerned with the strike, saying she already paid for her Malawi School Certificate of Education examination fees and needs to get done with secondary education.
It is affecting us a lot because me, I'm a girl. I need to learn. I need to educate. Even the world say if you educate a girl child, you have educated the nation. So the people are just sitting down there. Who is going to teach us? All of us here want to learn. That's why we're doing this strike. We're going to do it until we have found a good solution.
Government rejected the teachers' proposal for it to give the teachers money to buy personal protective equipment in the wake of COVID.
Youth Empowerment Forum has decried a persistent lack of opportunities for young people. The forum has singled out National Economic Empowerment Fund or NEF loans as one of the windows which the youth are failing to benefit from. Patience Lunda has the details in this report.
In an interview, Youth Empowerment Forum General Secretary Grace Kondwe said many youths, especially from hard-to-reach areas, are struggling to access the loans, which is a setback towards achieving tenets in the Malawi Vision 2063. Gondwe, who made the remarks during the launch of their branch in Karonga district on Monday, saying this far out of 425 members that Youth Empowerment Forum has, no one has been successful in acquiring the NEF loans. She said if the country is to achieve the 2063 blueprint, the welfare of the youth has to be prioritized.
But the challenges we are meeting is the same, that even those people who are offering this NEF initiative, the mind is still of whom do I know? Because I also tried this opportunity, but I've reached that stage of just giving it up.
But recently, NEF Public Relations Officer Waiton Kapasule told Times that many youths are not comfortable with the new loan procedures, which makes it hard for them to access the loans. Kapasule further said the youth groups submit loan applications without adequate documentation for the loan application to be processed satisfactorily and be approved. Youth Empowerment Forum is mobilizing youth from at least 8 districts in the country to drill them on how they can empower themselves through agribusiness activities. On his part, Area Development Committee Chairperson for Wasambo area in Karonga district, Habendovi, said most times youths are not involved in decision-making processes because most of them are not part of the development committees.
There was no participation made, I can say there is no participation. So most of the things that with the project we are doing at ADC level, we are not considering them.
Some of the districts EF is working in include Rompi, Dowa, Blantyre, Salima and Lilongwe.
You're watching the news on Times Television. We'll be back with more shortly.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
Do your gums hurt?
Yeah.
Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile?
All that in one toothpaste?
Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums.
Ah, Colgate Herbal.
Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
Define your surroundings. Build Africa. and Limbi Corner Mart building, and in Lilongwe along M12 Road close to Gateway Mall. Tropical Paints, your world in color.
Welcome back to the news on Times Television, TTV. Eye of the Child has asked the Ministry of Education and Malawi National Examinations Board to consider preparing supplementary examinations for candidates that did not perform well in the 2020 MSCE examination. This is the first time an organization has made such a call. Rebecca Jimjika has more in this report, which Tawanga Sabola now reads.
Eye of the Child Advocacy and Public Relations Officer Memory Chisenga said on Tuesday that administering the supplementary exams would be an efficient way of motivating more students who did not perform well to receive the examinations.
We are calling for supplementary examinations because we understand that MANIB is currently registering the 2021 students for the MSc examinations, and would like to include the 2020 students to be part of these examinations. But we all know that the process takes long because it will be like no more examinations that have been written in the 2021 year. It will take about 9 months for the students to have their results. And looking at the challenges that the 2020 students have already encountered, we are calling for supplementary examinations which are more efficient other than prolonging the process of rewriting these examinations in the normal 2021 calendar.
MANIB spokesperson Mayamiko Chiwaya was not immediately available for comment on Tuesday. Minister of Education spokesperson Chikondi Chimala said the ministry will sit down to consider the suggestion. On April 1 this year, MANIB released the 2020 Malawi School Certificate of Education examination results, which showed that out of 138,000 candidates, only 57,293 passed, representing a 41.42% pass rate. This does not compare favorably with the 2019 results, which showed that 50.42% of the students who sat the exams passed. Minister of Education Agnes Nyalonje cited 3 major reasons for the poor pass rate in the 2020 exams. Among the factors, Nyalonje cited the COVID-19 pandemic, which affected the school calendar.
Now, councillors in Mzuzu City have been cautioned to set aside their political ambitions and concentrate on developing the city. Sam Galimira reports.
One of the officials, Member of Parliament for Mzuzu City, Benix Mamulima, said development cannot be achieved if councillors and MPs are prioritizing politics. Mamulima, who is also Malawi Congress Party National Executive Committee member, said this when he joined some councillors of the city during the opening of a bridge that connects Chiputula and Zolozolo wards.
We don't eat politics, huh? But if we can help these people to achieve these basic projects, you know what you have seen here, these are basic needs of the community. You remember last time a kid was almost swept away by water when there was no bridge. So it really concerned us. So I see development to be is supposed to be number one.
UTM Regional Governor Moses Mrenga agreed with Mamulima, adding it is high time leaders put aside politics and work together for development.
Development should come first because politics is all about development. You remove development, politics is useless. It's mere gimmick. So that's why the function which is taking place today, the official opening of this bridge, is very critical in the history of Mzuzu City and also Chiputula in particular.
Chiputula Ward Councillor Huweti Mkandawire said the bridge had been a death trap for school learners, and it also connects the residents to Mzuzu Central Hospital. using the Infrastructure Development Fund and will benefit Mzuzu residents from 5 wards. Mzuzu City has over 200,000 people, 15 wards of councillors and 1 constituency.
To international news now. Years of conflict between Islamic State and the Iraqi government has left cities like Mosul in ruins. With alarming unemployment rates, thousands of children are searching through landfills in a bid to survive. VOA's Akawa Omar met a few of them, and in this report narrated by Bezan Hamdard.
In Mosul, garbage management companies pick up waste trash from residential sites and businesses and bring them to landfills like this one every morning. Waiting for the dump trucks are hundreds of people, including children, hoping to collect aluminum, iron, copper, and plastic to sell.
I live off iron and plastic. I make 3,000 to 5,000 dinars a day.
I have been working here for 2 to 3 years. We live in a dire situation. We have no income at all. At the early morning, we leave our homes and children and come here in order not to beg anybody for money. This work is better than begging money on the streets.
Sattar adds that most of the children working here don't have the luxury of attending schools.
Those children have not gotten to school and have not received any education. They know nothing but to work here.
Children and family rights organizations say the unemployment and economic crisis in the Iraqi government has led to thousands of children working at sites like this instead of going to school. Mosul police say the government must take action to control the increase in numbers of street children.
Without a doubt, this is a very dangerous issue, and it brings crimes like human trafficking and abuse against young girls. That is why if this issue spreads, it will become a big problem. Government should work on this situation, and the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs dedicate some financial resources in coordination with local government.
Advocates say there is no group looking into welfare of the children working at landfills.
We at the Nergal organization monitor the situation of children and women, but there is no specific organization who works specifically for kids on the street. Until now, we do not know the reason why. We have asked the central government and local government to help these kids.
Health experts say people working in landfills are more prone to respiratory and skin diseases. Most of those here are children and teenagers risking their lives for survival. For Kawa Omar in Mosul, Iraq, Bejan Hamdard, VOA News.
And that's the news for tonight. But before we go, the headlines once again. State and Defense given 30 days to make final submissions in former Army Commander Henry Odilo's case. Convicted former Minister of Home Affairs Oladi Musa applies for bail pending appeal against his conviction. And the Ministry of Education says it will not speak for now on the learners' demonstrations against teacher strike as negotiations are ongoing. You've been with me, Edita Soko. You can get more on these and other stories by visiting our website, www.times.mw. You can like our Facebook page, Times 360 Malawi, and follow us on Twitter at Times 360 Malawi. Remember to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distance, and mask up. Please stay safe. Have a lovely evening.
Update with me, Mandindaonga Bondani. Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Expect associated rain with thunderstorms to continue over north, while partly cloudy to cloudy conditions with isolated rain breezes and showers over the south and central areas as the rain belt continues to oscillate over the north, while southeasterly airflow continues over the center and the south. Advisory. Moderate mirror winds are expected to be blowing over Lake Malawi in the Shire River. Therefore, fishermen, sailors, and other users of the lake must take all the necessary precautionary measures. In Shiri Valley, expect mild conditions tonight and during morning, cloudy and hot conditions during the afternoon. In southern areas, expect partly cloudy and cool weather tonight and during morning, cloudy conditions during the afternoon. Forecast temperatures. Ngabu, a minimum of 21 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 32 degrees Celsius. Blantyre, a minimum of 18 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 28 degrees Celsius. Lilongwe, a minimum of 15 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 27 degrees Celsius. Mangochi, a minimum of 20 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 29 degrees Celsius. In Mzuzu, expect a minimum of 18 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 24 degrees Celsius. Winds are generally southeasterly but gusty and strong in stormy areas. Forecast for Thursday. The rain belt oscillating over the north is expected to slacken further. Times for sunrise and sunset for tomorrow, 7th April 2021. In Mzuzu, the sun will rise at 12 minutes to 6 and set at 9 minutes to 6. In Lilongwe, the sun will rise at 11 minutes to 6 and set at 8 minutes to 6. In Blantyre, the sun will rise at 15 minutes to 6 and set at 15 minutes to 6. That's the weather update. I'm Mandinda Ongapondani. Have a lovely night.